All right, buddy. I have clicked the record button. Vash, the Stampede. In your thing, you said you wanted to update it for girl power, as well as see what I can do to up the defense. And I'm sure you left it off on your pitch, but you also said I also don't want to be a dirty cheater because I'm still playing 4 Mob Strike. I'm sure that was subtext in here somewhere.
So I haven't updated the list since Mob Strike's been banned, so obviously that's the first thing to go when you push that.
Sure. Jokes aside, hit me with the pitch. Update for girl power, up the defense.
So,
Anything else?
The big kill card here is big freaking explosion, right? Can I discard attacks anyway to draw cards?
Mm-hmm.
So like I've gotten up to 26 damage at one point in time. The highest I got into in a game was 26 damage, big freaking explosion.
Crazy.
Which is pretty cool. But like, I don't know. I keep messing with the deck, and I either go too much offense stuff in it, or too much defense stuff and not enough offense. So I'm trying to find a good balance.
Yeah, I take that. I think that's super fair. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, right, is I'm only going to look at girl power stuff. Only going to look at girl power cards, and we got to find a replacement for the Mob Strike and then see what girl power does to this deck to quote fix it. 68 cards. What are your thoughts on this number? Higher, lower, same?
I wouldn't mind it going a little bit lower.
Okay.
I think a little bit lower. It's not terrible, 68, but I think a little bit lower wouldn't be too bad.
65, 66, or are we talking like as close to 60 as possible?
Probably like 64, 66, somewhere in that range.
Okay. I can make some cuts. I can do that. With that, let's go look at. Let's get rid of all of these. Let's go look at some. Let's go look at some moves. Boop. I love Acid Splash. It's so cool. If I take a damage this turn. This character's got that death symbol. That's weird. If they don't try to block this attack, freeze 2 rival foundations. It's interesting. Cluster bombs is kind of cool. Mill 2, it gets 1 speed for each keyword in your card pool. For rival has 8 or more ready foundations, it gets 3 damage. A 6 diff that gets 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a at minimum in your character 7 for 8 6 diff. I know we already have Inevitable Clash, but this card seems kind of neat in our deck.
Fair.
I don't know if it's necessarily good, but it seems kind of neat. Your attack is reduced. Grenader Blast. Lizard Tail Splitter is kind of a cool card. Massive Decoy. Anything else back here? Instant Shining Flash ain't bad. Okay, I'm not going to mess with... I should look for the attack-wise, just in case. This card's not bad in our deck. It's a 5 mid for 6. It says draw a card. It's very Mop Strike-esque. Tray size, we don't quite do enough damage. 45% power. It's pretty decent in our deck. Very Mop Strike-esque. 100% True Unleashed. Mop Strike. Falling Heel Strike is not bad. Being able to unflip these cool cards is pretty okay. I'm just actually going to go up here to attacks and then click 2. Let's see where we're at. Okay. Nimble Maneuver. Needles. I really like Stylish Strike in this deck. 5 high for 4 that draws 2 cards. Seems pretty decent. Assault Dust, High Key Mirage. It's also a 6 mid for 7 that blows cards up. That card seems kind of nuts in our deck. You can figure out how to get momentum. Whew. Potent. It's also a 5 diff, which is probably not great in our deck, right? Like 6, 5, 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I'm not married to it, but I was also trying to stick to the weapon and main keyword just for Punisher Beam.
Oh, you know
I'm
what?
not married to it.
No, I think you're right. I think ranged weapon is actually the correct way to go. I was like, why are we not doing what we're doing? Man, it's crazy. I think Acid Splash just might be the way to go. I mean, this is also arranged, right? Or finger daggers. Okay, let's look at attacks first, right? So, Acid Splash, I think, is really sick in this deck because spin of momentum, discard a rival foundation. It's a 4-diff to play after Punisher's Beam. This 1-2 tactic is like so potent, right? I will destroy one of your foundations, destroy one of your foundations. It's the number one thing that I want to do with Vash under the death symbol next set. Is just like these two cards together are crazy together. It's very strong, right? And then you just flip the Punisher's Beam to give the Acid Splash +5 speed. You give another 2 speed with Vash. You just get to hit them for 5 damage twice. So 10 damage and selectively destroy 2 of their foundations is very good. It also randomly is a 2 mid-block with Deflect 2. I'm a massive fan of what this card does with Punisher Beam Acid Splash. It's so good.
Fair. No, I like that.
The other idea
is combo with it.
Just Finger Daggers to replace the Mop Strike. If it deals damage, draw a card. 5 mid for 6. It's a high block, not a mid block. But this is consistency in drawing cards. This is consistency in drawing cards. A little easier. It is interactable, but it replaces the same job. If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Of the two, which one are you thinking?
I mean, I'd probably try them both out, but I think Finger Daggers might just be easier to do straight up.
Sure.
Because it's also 6 damage, and like sometimes I think I noticed before is like I'll play a game 1, I'll kill them Big Finger Explosion, and then afterwards they'll just won't block my little attacks because they know Big Finger Explosion's coming.
Yeah.
So they'll take a lot of pokes, and like most of my attacks do like 4 damage.
Sure.
So take 4 damage.
Yeah, so the fact that this one is like a 6 damage on base makes a lot of sense. I dig that.
Yeah.
Also 8 highs, 4 lows, the rest are all mids. Yeah, this is great. This is good. More high blocks in our deck. So I dig it. Okay, foundation wise, let's see if there's anything in our action asset grow power wise. We'll get rid of this. See what happens. Combined firepower. It looked like the only action wing that we could possibly play is like Decayed Awaken, which is fine. Maybe a sideboard if at all possible, but I think this card is probably just like not getting played, truthfully.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that card.
Yeah. Yeah, there is an idea where we play Mushroom Shooter in the deck at the 1 of. Enhance commit. Oh, we'd have to play the other attack. Just kidding. We're not playing this card. Because it says choose 2 foundations. If we play the attack card, we could put a mushroom counter on our character. Right? And then
destroy
to ready the character and then draw bonus cards, right? Which is pretty good. But nope, that's okay. No actions, assets. Let's look at foundations. Cheerful Teen. After a foundation is destroyed, draw a card. Okay. Each player has a top card of the deck. Their card will face down. Card's kind of cool. Your ranged or slam attack deals damage. Lose health. Fury Kick is blocked. Your Fury or Kick enters your discard pile. There's an idea where we play a Unabashed Manner, but I think the card's not very good. I think the card's not very good.
Well, I have to discard attacks for my characters, so I'd have to find another way to put it in the discard pile.
You just discard the top card of your deck, right? Like mill 1.
Oh, yeah, the mill 1 part. Yeah.
But like, if we're going to do this, we should just play the action that also can do it on defense, right? For -2 speed. And redraws a card. Like, this being a 1/5/2 low block, like, we're not missing low blocks, right? Unless you, like, want to get rid of Display of Power. Like, you don't. Like, it's fine as is. Rival built a foundation during the combat phase, flip and commit it. This card's not bad. This foundation's destroyed. Fighting for control, I think, is a big deal. But we already have access to Keikoze, which is, I think, a better version of this card. Right? 2/4. Keikoze requires the block to happen, but doesn't have the failing the check that's not in the combat phase, because this is just plus the difficulty. I think death is the worst symbol on this card, just because Keikoze exists. But Evil Order, get a lot out of this card. Latent Skill is pretty good. Discard 2, draw 2 cards.
Oh yeah,
but when we look at our high blocks, is it better than the other high blocks that we already have? The answer is no. No, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
and it makes sense that the girl power cards are like not incredible for the death symbol. Just because, you know, the death symbol's been running rampant so far of like this whole ranged weapon idea, punishes being battle or release, like this idea is pretty damn good. And we're not even looking at like, you know, maybe Godzilla cards are helpful for it, but you know, we got a bit to go. I think the only thing that might matter is just Disarming Glance. After an attack is played, they can't add cards to their hand until after it resolves. With cards like Mop Strike gone, right? That's like the main way that people added cards to their hand. We look at our block zones. The 2 diffs that we like, it's a 2/5/3 low block, right? Like besides like maybe Display of Power, which is a 1 diff, right? Which like I'm not a fan of. I think Commit for aggressive abilities are not very good. But this card easily could just like exist in your sideboard if your rival like is adding too many cards to their hand. This card absolutely ruins my Jester deck, right? If you play 1 copy of Disarming Glance, I can't add the spell card to my hand. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so like I have to really hard play around this. But I don't know if it's supposed to be in every deck, right? Even if like versus your deck, what am I supposed to do? Stop the Finger Daggers so you can hit me for 6? That sucks. Stop the Battle Lore release from drawing a card? That sucks. I guess Inevitable Clash is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think this card is very good, but it's 100% dependent on are you fighting decks, does the meta say that we add cards to hand? That's the big question, right? Because otherwise the card is very blank in your deck, right? I think it's a meta call as opposed to anything else.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So like with that said, I don't know that there's much besides just putting in the Finger Daggers that like we really have to change when it comes to adding in girl power stuff, right? Yeah, it's just Unabashed Hero. There's a better version of this card, isn't there? We've got Defying Fate, right? So 1. This is a 1/5/3 mid. Maybe. How do we destroy a card?
Shifter.
Why is pitching in our deck?
So it can do a couple funny things with the Inevitable Clash or the Nimble Maneuver. I could put anything I want on top of my deck and then put on top of my deck with Nimble Maneuver, or just pick it up with Inevitable Clash.
Okay, that's neat.
It's a 6 check. It's not, like I said, it's not something I'm married to, but it's a 6 check and it does some cool things.
Yeah, there's an idea that Rabbit Finesse exists in the deck. And it says if a foundation has been destroyed, so like even if my rival destroys foundations, commit for -3 speed. There's an idea where this card is better than Defying Fate at the 1 of. Just depends on like what our block mods look like. Like you could get away with it if you wanted to, right? If you'd rather have a mid block than the low block? Question mark?
Probably. I'm probably high on low blocks.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but like the difference between like this being a low and a high, also the 1 copy. I mean, if we're determined to put in a girl power card in your deck, we've done it. Mission accomplished, baby. We've done it. It's easy. Because you also already have Adverse to Water.
Yeah, which is why I only had it as a 1/0, because I had the 4 speed hate. I just kind of wanted one more.
Yeah. We did want to cut cards though, right? So like that might be like where we come to now. So let's do that a bit, right? League Invitation. Thoughts on this guy?
It could probably go. It was funny because the idea was, using my favorite attack and they don't block it. You have all my attacks get +4 speed until they decide to block something or try to block anyway.
Sure. I think that's potent enough to keep in the deck, right? We don't have any 2-checks. I think it's fine. See it all. What are your thoughts on this card not being a 4 of, but a 3 of?
I'm fine with that.
So I like that just because, again, it's a 4-check. We're playing some pretty high difficulty ideas here. And it's just to cut cards, right? If you feel like you're missing it, obviously we can put it back in. There is an idea where we take this Rabbit Finesse and we kill it again.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think part of the reason why I wanted to slim it down is because I was having trouble seeing some of the cards. That's why I had too much speed hate in it, because I wasn't technically seeing it all.
Yeah.
So if we cut the deck down, I'll probably see more of it.
And then Display of Power. Hit me with what's going on here.
So like I was saying before, a lot of times like in game 2, people just won't block the little attacks. So I can just give my attack three more damage. You're like, hey, you don't want to block it? What about now?
Okay, I'm gonna put it to a 1 of. I think 1 of is totally fine. I'm not in love with this card nearly as much as I think this card is not good. I think commit for +3 damage is a bad exchange rate if you can't do anything with it. I think that I would rather have things like Battle or Release and Finger Daggers. Honestly, I'd rather have a second interdimensional plants in your stage in order to try and like discard a momentum to gain more damage that way, right? This does not commit a foundation in order to make something happen. Instead of committing a foundation, right? This loses an opportunity to play a check. I would rather just like play more syndicate targets because it's like a better low block. It's a 6-check. It's a 0 diff as opposed to committing the foundation. But like, you've played the deck, and if people are disrespecting your damage output, maybe Display of Power is the thing that like I will put Display of Power on a nimble maneuver so that they block it so that the big freaking explosion can actually connect, right? Like there's that idea.
Gotcha.
But with that, I mean, that puts it to 65, 26, 21, 18. Not a bad idea. The other option that we have, right, if we're down to put this to 17, is to go back to the 4th Seen It All, because this also puts damage on moves instead of the Display of Power. And this is a free button to press as opposed to whatever else, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go 4 and 0.
Yeah, we'll cut this. We'll put this at the 4 of, because the other thing that this card does is it also like it does increase speed for the Punisher beams, for the BFEs, for the inevitable clash. You know.
That's what I used it the most of, was to increase the speed to just get things through.
Yeah,
yeah. Block the attack.
Let's look at our block zones one more time. Yeah, because we also have a Mortal Shapeshifter. It's like plus that damage, right?
Yeah, that was actually a newer edition. It wasn't in there originally, but like I said, I wanted to have some more damage output somewhere.
Yeah. I dig it. 22 attack, 65 in the character that draws and mills. I think it looks pretty okay, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before I let you go?
So do you think Plans is actually worth going up to 2 of in general, or just you'd rather have that over the other thing?
I would rather have Plans over the other thing. I like this card a lot, but I think this card is very good in a slow-paced deck, right? I get a momentum for free, and I turn. If I can figure out how to get momentum, I get to have +3 damage on all my moves, right? I essentially turn into. I turn my character into Endeavor 3, right? +2 speed, +3 damage, right? For the cost of mill 1 discard momentum. I don't necessarily care about the gain 3 health. But the question is how do I get that momentum? How do I get the way that I get the momentum is just +2 speed on my stuff, right? So like, there's the big question, right? Is this card worth it at more than the 2 of? My answer is probably not. I think 1 is fine, but this is a good way to if you somehow accidentally get 4 momentum, right? That's 12 damage we're leaving on the table. With the only way that for you to spend momentum is on BFE and Inevitable Clash. You don't have other momentum outs. It's just Plants BFE Clash.
Nimble Move has EX is the other one.
Oh, exciting! Your 4 damage move is very fast. I love that.
Well, the funny thing, I could EX it and then put the thing on top and then draw it again, which is what I've done before.
Okay, so you nimble maneuvers. Put it on. How do you put it on? Oh, put it on top with nimble and then draw. Okay,
Or
that's neat.
Draw selling or something.
That's neat. Well, but you ready? This doesn't actually kill them. This is a flow card to try and find something else that does, right? Which is the point of like, should I increase interdimensional plants? You could do that exact same play by giving the nimble maneuvers +3 damage instead, right?
Makes sense.
Discard the 3 for +3. They have to block the 7 damage move because they might die and then do something over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but like play around with it. Maybe on a week that you feel like you're not doing enough damage, you could toss plants up to the 2 of and see what happens. But I think a Mortal Shapeshifter and Seeing It All might be enough to get you there.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, very welcome. All right, stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you the list, and you have a good turn out. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, we'll see ya.